Farm for Profit Podcast. Take a listen, have a blast. Farm for Profit Podcast. Learn about farming while having a laugh. Farm for Profit Podcast.
Corey, you got one ready? You got your vocal cords warmed up?
They're getting a little weak.
A little stretch?
It's Friday. Yep.
All right, let's see if we can get you fired up.
Today on the Farm for Fun show from the National Farm Machinery Show with Sukup Manufacturing, we meet up with another social media star. He's got fantastic content across all socials where he has almost 85,000 followers on Instagram, 20,000 on TikTok, and over 126,000 subscribers on YouTube. Please welcome from Ohio, Mr. Mike Less, a.k.a. Farmhand Mike.
All right.
Thanks for having me. It's a
Woo!
pleasure to be here.
Were you throwing axes last night? Did I see you?
No.
You weren't throwing axes?
Apparently, there's a twin of me that goes to the PBR and rides bulls and does stuff like
A
that.
twin?
That's what
Oh.
I heard. But my goatee was really long last year, and I cut it off this summer. I can talk about that, why I did that. But anyways, apparently he had a really long goatee last year, and everybody thought, everyone kept going up to this guy calling him Mike, and because somebody went up and actually, Brian Brown went up to him and said, "Hey, you look exactly like my friend Mike Less." And he's like, "Well, I wondered because everyone's been coming up to me tonight sayay, 'Hey, Mike.'" So
I thought you were going to say it was actually you.
That sounds
I was
like
gonna ask you how sore were you the next morning.
yeah. But no, I mean, a 50-plus-year-old bald guy with a white beard, I guess, is not so uncommon. So,
not the typical social media star, I would say, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you look around as far as social media and what you call an influencer, I mean, I'm kind of old in the whole thing. So it's mostly younger people, and I.
So who is Mike Less? How do you do? Corey gave you a little bit of an intro, but who are you?
Okay, so I guess you want to hear my abbreviated life story here, so
or make it long.
Okay, so anyways, I grew up in Northeast Ohio. And on a farm, and lived across the road from my grandpa. My grandpa had the farm, and my dad. Of course, my dad grew up on the farm as a kid doing the thing, and my dad got a job with General Motors, but my dad always helped on the farm, So I always would hang out. We had. Let me tell you about our farm. So we had. It's pretty unique because most people you interview are corn and soybeans, and so we had 25 acres of apple orchard, apple trees, a few peach trees. We grew over 100 acres of sweet corn every year, pumpkins, and then we had 3 laying houses of chickens. And this is back when, before all the automated stuff.
Yeah.
So we, every egg was hand gathered, 17,000 hens. And my grandpa had a full-time guy in the chicken houses, but that was just behind our house kind of, so I like to hang out at the chicken place. I always wanted to be a livestock guy or, in the animals, and I went on the payroll for my grandpa in 7th grade, so about in the wintertime, he's pruning the apple trees, and of course you cut the branches and they fall, and we would we call it pull and brush, so we'd pull the limbs and stuff, we'd pull them out in the middle between the trees, and then we'd back over them with a bush hog and chop them up. So I went on the payroll for $1 an hour in 7th grade pulling brush, and I remember that summer then I did the whole sweet corn thing, and then my cousins, I got 2 cousins the exact same age as me. My cousin John runs the family farm now.
Okay.
And anyway, so we were all working together. So I had my brother was a year and a half younger than me, and 4 of my cousins. We were all within a couple years of each other. We were best friends. We were coworkers and everything related. But so anyways, I remember I worked 80 hours one week and had an $80 paycheck in 7th grade.
Big money.
And I did not know. I just could not comprehend what I was going to do with all my money back then. So anyways, my dad ended up taking over the chicken part of the farm and working at General Motors, and he ripped out all the cages, and we went to raising broilers, meat chickens. So my dad did that for a year, and he changed everything over, and the company we was under contract with moved out of the state of Ohio. So we got stuck. My dad got stuck with. And we could not get a contract with anyone else. We tried for turkeys even, and we were too far away from where the turkeys were. So we started raising pheasants.
Oh,
So
really?
my dad started raising pheasants. So him and I was, in that, I don't know, probably 8th grade or so. My dad, there was a pheasant farm about an hour and a half, 2 hours from us. So we head over to this pheasant farm and check it all out. He did the whole deal where he had incubators, and then people could hunt on his farm. He would release birds, and then he would clean them and do the whole deal. So we went out there and thought it was pretty interesting. So we started raising pheasants. And there was a local guy had some incubators. So my dad bought the incubator. So we actually hatched pheasants.
Yep.
And and a couple things about pheasants that I learned over chickens is chickens are pretty easy. You can carry a chicken by one leg. Well, pheasants, because of their wing strength, when you catch a pheasant, you have to hold it by both legs, or it'll fly away and pull its leg out. Or so. And pheasants have the big spur on them, so they'll cut you. But and you have to clip their beaks when they're born, because pheasants are very cannibalistic in captivity. And
That sounds like a lot of work.
yeah, it was. And then when they get older, you got to catch them again. And then you have to put a blinder on them so they can't see straight forward, or they'll just tear each other up. If they see blood on one, it's over. So
That's what they have red lights
Yeah,
and stuff. And
yeah.
you get to raise them in flight pens.
yes, we had them inside the chicken house, but we had pens to the outside with a netting on top. And then we'd catch them with fish nets.
Yep.
And then you'd have to reach in the fish net. You were just going to get tore up. It was just the way it was.
I loosely raised pheasants as well.
Okay.
In high school, in FFA, I had a buddy. It was his project, but I helped out a lot. And the school had ground that some guys had goats, some guys had a couple pigs. He'd put a flight pen up, and we raised pheasants.
Yeah.
And it is, like you said, it's.
Yeah.
And I had layers, too. It's way different.
Yeah. So, and pheasants lay eggs in April, May, and June.
Yep.
And you have to have one cockbird to 7 hens in captivity, or they'll fight.
One cock.
One cock to 7 hens.
Yeah.
It's a nice ratio.
That's what that's what they were called. I don't know in today's world if you can say that, but I just said
Well, that's what it is.
Yeah,
It's just like a donkey is a jackass.
Exactly what it is.
Yeah. So we did that, and then when I got out of school, of course, I guess through high school I worked on the farm, and then I actually worked on a dairy farm one summer, because my whole life I wanted to be a dairy farmer. That's all I wanted to be, was a dairy farmer. That's all I talked about.
Why?
I just thought it was the coolest thing. So we had a neighboring farm that milked cows, and I knew nothing about milking cows. Well, my dad actually, my mom or dad, I forget, talked to. His name was Arlo Dustman. He was our neighbor, and he probably milked 80 or 100 cows if I had to guess.
Yeah.
Maybe not that many. But anyways, his daughter did all the milking. And I think my mom ran into her, and so she said, "Yeah, bring them over." And I got to milk cows, and I just thought it was great. I fell in love, and I did that. My dad always said, "The only way you're going to be a dairy farmer," he goes, "you're going to have to marry a dairy farmer's daughter." And I did.
Really?
When I met my wife, after.
You were trying really hard.
Yeah,
You really wanted to be a dairy farmer.
I did, and I helped them, and it was fun. But I went to school for agricultural mechanics, so that's what got me into the farm equipment world then. And I started out at a dealership, setting up equipment, and then working on stuff. And I was making all the money I was going to make at the dealership, and it was time to make more money. And I would still help at the farm, on the weekends and after work. And I still to this day do.
Yeah.
And that's where the name Farmhand Mike comes in.
Yeah.
But so anyways, I worked at the dealership, and then in 1995 I actually got a job traveling for Gale Company on a service rep for their forage harvesters, hay tools, skid loaders. And I did that up till 2009. Gale actually quit making agriculture implements and just went construction, and I didn't like it. And so I went to work for Versatile four-wheel drive tractors as a service rep.
Okay.
And I just left Versatile in June.
Okay.
And I went to work for Deutz. Deutz is a German-made tractor, and we are over across the way at the back of the wall there. But,
I was walking with Uppy from Australia
Okay.
the first day of the show, and we walked down that way, and boom, there's a Deutz.
Yep.
He's like, "Oh, I didn't even know they made those anymore."
Yeah. Oh. well, to take it a step farther, I technically work for the distributor for Deutz tractors here in the USA, which is PFG Power Farming Group, and they're out of New Zealand.
Okay.
And they are the Deutz distributor in New Zealand. In Australia, they're also the Versatile tractor distributor in Australia. So I've known the owners for a long time. So when I changed jobs, it wasn't so.
Yeah, it was a
I
familiar
knew
connection.
people, right?
Yeah.
So and it's been fun. It's put me in a lot of different places just because they're not so much into the row crop farmers. That they make a lot of specialty tractors for orchard, vineyard, and tractors up to 340 horsepower. But I would say. They're more for the hay and forage guys. Like they're fast tractors, good road speed, CVT transmissions. A lot of ways to run them for road speed and stuff, comfort, suspension.
I got some buddies in southeast Iowa that race cattle, and that's all they feed with is their feed tractors is Deutz.
Okay, yeah.
The older one. Like,
Yes.
Is it Deutz Alice?
There was like a 3 or so many years where Alice, Deutz and I don't know if Deutz bought Alice or
Yeah, what's the? Do you know much of the history? I don't know much about Deutz.
So Deutz had been in the United States as Deutz, and then I don't know if Deutz bought Alice Chalmers back in the day, but it was Deutz Alice for a few years.
Okay.
And then I think after that, then it went back to Deutz, and I think that's where AGCO come into the AGCO Alice. I think something like that.
Right.
But,
Okay. So they're AGCO?
No. I think the Alice part went back and
Alice went back.
AGCO, and then
Okay.
Deutz went back, and then I think Deutz might even not been here for a bit, you know.
Okay.
And Deutz, I mean, they're bigger than people think. Deutz builds about 40,000 tractors a year.
Wow.
So tractors
Really?
from about 60 horsepower up to 340. So, and some crawlers, and Deutz actually makes Deutz Farm makes a combine too. They build about 400 combines a year. None of those combines,
Sure.
they're a straw walker machine, probably like a class 5. But there's a market for that in Europe. So,
Yeah.
so I don't think there's any plans to ever bring those over here. But
No, but I still didn't know they made
just
them.
interesting, and they actually got implements too over in other countries,
Right.
Branded Deutz, but
Yeah.
none of that stuff's over here. So
So your target is more specialty crop growers
yes.
in the U.S.
Yeah. And you know, because of front PTO 3-point, so a lot of, you know, with the triple mowers and
Yep.
and because we have good road speed, the custom guys that are pulling big silage trailers and
Yeah.
manure tankers and stuff like that.
Oh, we should get one of those to put on the planter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be. They'd be
I will say, like, I feel like overseas they utilize the tractor for way more
Yes.
of what it's capable of.
Yes,
like than we do.
Yeah, and over there they don't have the road whisks like we do. Like you know, that's why duals are not popular over there because they are limited what they can
Yeah.
take down the road.
Yep.
And so a front 3-point, you know, you'll see tractors over there where they're actually tilling in the front of the tractor and have a planter on the back. And,
Yeah.
and a lot of
Which
their implements.
seems way more efficient.
Yeah.
Yeah, except for we're
Yeah.
running 60, 65
Well,
feet
that's
wide,
yes.
and they're running
Yes.
12 to 15.
Yeah. And I mean, there's a lot of interest in European farming because if you get on YouTube and you type farming in the USA, and you know a lot of farming channels here, and they get a lot of good views. But well, you find some European channels with farming, and they got views like I mean millions of subscribers. Like I think there's European farming channels that have way more subscribers than anybody in the USA does. So yeah,
You know, our farm has a Farmhand Mike as well.
Okay,
But we call him free labor.
yeah,
And he always his I swear it's like once a week when we're harvesting. He's like, we don't use these tractors like they do over in Europe.
Yeah.
They're pushing plows, they're pulling plows. You know, it's like, that's kind of his deal.
Yeah.
So you're talking YouTube because that's one of your
Yes.
largest impression area accounts.
Yes. Yep.
How'd you get started? Why?
So I've never been a TV watcher ever.
Mm-hmm.
When YouTube come out, kind of new to the internet, you know, and stuff. And I think YouTube come out in 2006, I believe. Anyways, I somehow got wind of a farming video on YouTube, and I started watching farming videos on YouTube. And back then, everybody that was making farm videos, it was, you know, put some cool clips up where they're going to throw some AC/DC in or Jason Aldean. It was one or the other. And that was the way you did it, right? And then I'm traveling all over the country for Versatile, and I always take pictures. I've always been in a little bit of photography.
Yep.
So I'm just like, you know, I see way cooler stuff than I'm seeing on YouTube. It's time I start throwing up some of the stuff I see.
Yep.
And it all started out, I wanted to put a snowmobile video on YouTube.
Okay.
I started my YouTube channel to upload a snowmobile video because we were on a snowmobile trip, and my buddies, I wanted them to see it, and I had GoPros just come out, so I had a GoPro on my helmet, and I made a 20-minute long snowmobile video of our snowmobile trip, and I wanted to put this on YouTube. So I knew nothing. So my son's like, okay, my oldest son is Mike as well. He's the tech guy, and he is all about it. So he said, Dad, you got to have a Gmail, you got to have a Google account, and so I had a Yahoo email for my personal. So I get the old Gmail and go that route. So I set up the YouTube channel. Well, the internet was not good in 2012 when I started my YouTube channel. So I got this 20-minute video. It said it was going to take like 18 or 20 hours to upload.
Yeah.
So I started
Holy
uploading this video. So this is like on a Sunday morning, and I'm like, I got to go to work the next day. Well, I get up in the night and I checked, and then all of a sudden the video's uploaded, and I got a thing from YouTube that says you cannot upload videos longer than 15 minutes unless you have X amount of views or X amount of subscribers. And I'm like, darn. I'm like, I got all these tractor clips. So I had a bunch of tractor clips. Like, say I was out in the field working on a guy's tractor, and I was waiting to make sure everything's good. So I got a clip of the tractor, over here going by. So I'd start throwing up these 15-second tractor clips. And started throwing them up, and they started getting views, and I started getting comments. I knew nothing about subscribers.
Right.
Like, that was a thing. Like, people rate you on how many subscribers you have and how many views you have. I had no idea. I don't think any YouTube video I ever watched, I looked at their views or their subscribers. No clue. So anyways, I start throwing these clips up, and then I start getting comments. I'm like, oh, this is cool. And some guy said, can you make your videos a little longer? So I'm like, okay, well, I got the tractor coming back the other way. So I started merging clips and making 3-4 minute videos, right? And then I just figured everyone's watching. They're a farmer. They know what's going on. And then the title I would put, if it was I think the first video I put was a versatile 280 horsepower tractor. I think it was knifing anhydrous. Pre-plant. And I just put versatile 280 pulling, a DMI, putting, and in the description I wrote what he was doing. Tractor knew it. Tractor sound took over. Good to go. And then people said, could you explain what's going on in the videos? And so I started, a few years into it, started doing a voiceover in the video, and that was so awkward. That was the hardest thing I did because of your voice. Like, I think the first voiceover video I did was from this show, like probably 6 or 7 years ago, and I remember I had all this footage from this show, and I get on there, and it was so awkward because I go back and watch that video, and I'm like, I want to delete it because I'm like, hi, I'm Mike. This is the Egco booth, but then you learn, and I think I do okay now. I think we're probably all of us are our own worst critic when we hear our voice after the fact. Like, I think I sound pretty good right now, and then I'll listen to this, and I'm like, man, what a dork,
Tanner gets that a lot.
My wife will pick it out because at the beginning of the show, my voice will be lower, but as I talk and yell all day, she goes, you realize how young you sound?
Scratchy.
You sound like you just went through puberty.
Isn't it funny, though? You started out with making YouTube Shorts before YouTube Shorts was a thing. Then they wanted it longer, and now they probably want Shorts again.
Yeah. So
you were just doing it to get a video to your buddy.
Yeah, so I could put my snowmobile video up, but then the popularity took off for the farming, and I like showing
Did you ever put the snowmobile video up?
Yeah, finally. It took, I think, a year later. A year later.
You still ride snowmobiles?
Oh, yeah.
What do you ride?
Arctic Cat.
100%.
We can't be friends. My first snowmobile was an Arctic Cat. Well, if it makes you feel any better, I do have a Polaris Razor.
Okay.
And I had a Polaris 4-wheel. I have nothing against Polaris snowmobiles. I have nothing against Skidoo. My first one was an Arctic Cat, and if you got good luck with something, you stick with it. And not only that, I like to be different. I like to be the guy that everyone's, oh, you need to have a Skidoo, you need to have a Polaris. Like, no, I want to be.
So where do you go ride?
So we used to Michigan. Michigan was the place we went. Up in the UP. And then my youngest son, moved to Utah in 2017. So now I turned into a mountain rider. I'm not going to say I'm a good mountain rider, but I'm a hell of a lot better than I was.
That scares me.
If I throw a cuss word in here, is that
it? You're good, yeah.
Okay.
No,
I won't be too bad. But anyway, so we took our first mountain ride in Idaho in 2017, and 6 years in a row now I've been riding the mountains. So my son's actually got mountain sleds now. And I bought my last snowmobile I bought was 2 years ago, and I bought a crossover sled. So it's a longer track, but you can still trail ride. And I took it out there last year in deep powder. It's not a mountain sled. A mountain sled is a mountain sled, and it's okay in the spring riding when the snow's set up and stuff. But the mountain sled is
and the fresh pow.
And technically, my crossover sled would have been a killer mountain sled 10 or 15 years ago because of the size, because it still has a fairly long track and wide skis. But snowmobiling is I would that's probably my favorite thing of everything.
I can't wait to get back into it. I was into it.
Okay.
Then I had kids. Because in Iowa you got to take a trip to make it worth it, right?
Yes, right.
And I was getting to the point where I could make maybe one trip a year. And to have a $12,000 sled sitting there, this doesn't make sense.
No.
So when the kids get older, I am planning to get back into it.
Yeah, and that's what got my son into it so much, because he was riding in front of me between the handlebars and me around farm riding and stuff, and he got addicted. And so it's good.
So back to the videos. You're catching comments, people wanting you to explain what's going on. So that's where you just decided I'm going to do more ag posts.
And then I didn't even know you could make money off a YouTube video. I didn't even know that at all. And then I got monetized. And if you want to hear that story, that's actually pretty interesting.
Fire away.
I get an email from this. I get lots of emails for peddle our product because we think it would fit well with your brand. Well, people are not going to watch my channel to see jewelry, and I get that too. But so anyways, I get this media company wants to work with me, and they're going to help me make money, and they're going to build my following and this and that. Well, I thought that's how you had to do it, right? So I signed a contract with them, and I started out. You don't get paid from YouTube unless you made over $100 per month, and if you only made $80 this month, then the next month you'll get your.
Okay.
Well, so anyways, I was with them for about 2 years. All of a sudden, the checks quit coming. And they were out of Michigan, and they weren't responding to my emails. I was calling. I'm not getting my money anymore. And they did not do anything to help build me either. I always kept track of my analytics, and my following never changed. Like, I didn't just like skyrocket after I went with them. So anyways, my checks quit coming, and they weren't getting back with me, so I had their address. And I was up in Michigan for work. I'm like, they're kind of in a suburb of Detroit here. Let's go see what's going on.
That sounds safe.
I go to this fancy office building, and it said, "What suite?" And I go trucking in there, and this woman's at the desk. "Can I help you?" And I said, yeah. And I told her the story, and she's like, here, let me go get so-and-so. And I could see people in this back office just like
scrambling.
And this guy come out. You could tell he was just nervous. And he goes, I don't know how to say this, but he goes, "We did a lot of hunting channels and stuff, and YouTube's really cracking down on that kind of stuff. And we're not getting the revenue we do." He goes, "I wouldn't say we're not in financial trouble. We're just having a cash flow shortage at the time." I said, and then I had learned from somebody else that I didn't need them.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I said, "Can I break my contract with you?" And he was like, it was like a relief, right?
Yeah.
He's like, "Yes." So I did it, and then I got signed up on my own, and then that's when my following stared taking off. When I went back,
when you went by yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I build about the last about 25,000 followers a year is what I've been averaging since. It took forever to get to 25,000, and then it's been about 25,000 a year. And some people take it really serious, and I think it's changed some people. My thing, like right now, if I said, "Hey, I got to go back to my hotel room tonight, and I gotta edit a video because I gotta have a video on my YouTube tomorrow," which I technically I really do.
Yeah.
But if you guys said, "Hey, you seem pretty cool. We should go out and drink a couple beers," I'm like, "Yeah, I think we should."
Yeah.
So,
our video got pushed back a day yesterday.
Yeah. So anyway.
we did that Wednesday night.
Yeah.
We have a show that comes out Monday and Thursday, and I still didn't have the Thursday show posted.
Yeah. So that's how I just do it. It's a hobby. I get it up when I get it up. I got content from 3 years ago that I never edited, and when I'm there, you got to get the footage when you can get the footage.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, now it's corn silage season, which corn silage videos people love.
Yep.
People love corn silage videos, and
I think people love that kind of stuff because they wonder.
Yeah.
There's not very many farmers that actually cut silage.
Yes, right.
But it's still a tractor. It's still large equipment.
Yep.
And it's like a beautiful orchestrated dance.
It's cool.
And there's so many things going on because you got choppers, you got trucks, you got tractors on the pile. And
I've never cut
the
silage.
good operations.
Yes.
Oh, I can get you into
I've
some
never
of that,
cut silage, but if I was just going to go do like one job, I think that'd be kind of cool to be the chopper operator.
Yeah.
Spit it over to the next truck.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, it is. I hope my wife and daughter listen to the show because when I hear like a tractor fire up or something exciting, I get a little tear running down my eye. Or like I hear a turbo snowmobile, whatever. And when I'm out in the field filming and they're chopping and the truck's almost full and the other truck shoots up to get beside them, and then you just see that spout flip up to hit the other truck. I just like,
So, very cool, very cool.
So
we spent a lot of time the year after the Drake show with my in-laws cutting down corn, trying to salvage a crop that was down. So we ended up doing almost 4 times the regular acres that we did.
Yeah.
So you get to the point to where you get really good. The whole team gets really good at what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that was just fun being the truck driver.
Yeah.
To watch how everybody, you didn't stop on the ends.
Yeah.
Trucks faded in and out. The chopper never shut down. Mm-hmm. But like I said, we were doing 4 times what we normally did, and everything was fine-tuned.
Yes.
It's not always that way because sometimes you end up with new help each year.
Yeah.
You come in and you got to don't back into the pile. Get everybody figured out.
It's like I've done a lot of custom wheat harvest videos of the custom wheat harvesters, and over half their crew every year is new people, and they got to build that team, and that's very interesting. But, and by mid-season they got their roll down and they're pretty good. But
So is chop and silage your favorite videos to film?
Everything is, but silage. I personally think silage, corn silage, wheat harvest, and moldboard pine. People love moldboard plowing videos.
Yeah, that Ubri
and
farms on TikTok.
Yeah,
man.
And strangely enough, people like videos of cattle farms cleaning out the barns, like pen pack manure, stall manure.
Yeah.
Them videos usually do pretty good too.
Well, Ryan Seaman has a whole bunch of just them tanking manure.
Yeah. And I look for unique stuff. Like if I'm driving down the road and I see like an older tractor or something neat, I'll kind of stalk the guy a little bit and wait at the end of the field to talk to someone, ask if I could.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Is how? Because you, like I said, you're Farmhand Mike.
Yes.
You're not farm owner Mike.
No.
You're not. Yeah.
Right, and that's where the name Farmhand Mike, because I still help farm it on my. Like I take vacation, and I moved away from my family farm, so I don't get to help my cousin. So I help a neighboring farm. And that's why I went by Farmhand Mike, because I'm not Farmer Mike.
Yeah.
So and I take vacation in the fall and the weekends, and I hit the harvest. Probably my favorite job on the farm. I love running grain cart.
Yeah.
And I know everybody talks about the grain cart, but grain carting and corn is my thing.
I actually enjoy it too.
Yeah.
Right. Like I do like to run the combine for like an hour.
Yeah.
But then you're not moving enough or getting in and out. Like the grain cart's great.
Yeah. The only nice thing I like about running the combine is I can fly my drone and combine at the same time.
Yeah.
Because you got the road guidance. Actually, last year was the first year I had a 280 horsepower Deutsch tractor I got to bring home for a week and put on the grain cart, and I set the auto steer for the run beside the combine. So I had a perfect line, and then with the automatic transmission, I knew the combine was running 5 mile an hour, so I set the CVT transmission when I got beside the combine to hit the button. Yep. So I was just like hands free. So technically I could fly my drone while I was running the grain cart too.
What do you fly? What kind of drone do you have?
DJI. I have. I got 6 of them now.
Oh, wow.
I started out. That changed my video too when I started throwing the drone. When drones come out, then I was like, I got to have one of these because all my footage was just on the ground with a camcorder. So I bought a Phantom 2. Was the first one I bought, and then I've actually have drones that are wore out in a year. I've never technically crashed one really hard, or I never lost one, but I like to carry 2 with me all the time, just in case I had a situation. If I'm out in Colorado working and it's wheat harvest, then I'm not going to miss an opportunity because you cannot film 4 to 12 combines in the field on the ground and get them all. You got to get that air, and you don't have to fly like 200 feet in the air. Just that view of just being 20 feet above the equipment or whatever.
It showed farming from a different angle.
Yes, and I like it. I've actually been using my drone and flying it like 3 feet off the ground and beside, because it changes everything. Because before you had to wait for the I'd go stand out in the middle of the field and have to get the pass coming this way and that way, and it's changed it all. So
what's Deutsch think of you going around and getting the?
Oh,
they're all about it.
They love it. This started when I worked for Versatile. And I was I'm on YouTube. Was pretty well known as the Versatile guy because you want to see a John Deere 8R or 9R. I mean, that's a popular tractor. There's all that on YouTube, and Versatile there was not a lot of them, so I did a lot of them because when I was a service rep with them, I traveled a good distance to help resolve an issue. So if it was like an electrical or canvas problem or something like that acts up once every couple days, when I went with a dealer to a farm, sometimes I didn't know if I was going to be there 15 minutes or it might be there 4 days, because it might not act up.
Right.
And so that's why I started filming, because I'm sticking around to make sure everything's going good. So I started just getting footage, after everything was resolved. I would never start when the guy was mad or something. But when you things are rolling good and whatnot. And then I all the years of being in the ag business, I've made so many contacts over the years with dealers and farmers, and the farmers love it. Like, it's a big deal to a farmer when he starts getting calls from all his neighbors like, "Hey, did you know your combine's on YouTube?" Like people just crack up.
Do most of them like that? They like you to film all that? Yeah.
So, but I give everyone the option. I don't film anybody without asking them. And some guys don't want their farm name in there, and that's cool. So like some guys are like, So if I was filming you guys and you're like, "Hey, I kind of want to leave our farm name out of it, whatever," and I'd just be like, we're shelling corn near, Des Moines, Iowa, or something like that. And then some guys want their name in the video, and I'll mention it. But I get it.
When you swing through Des Moines, you got to swing by Harvest and get the Bush Light Combine.
Oh, yeah.
I got the Bush Light
you do. Oh, yeah, I'd love to. Definitely. Let's. Yeah, we'll definitely make sure we stay in touch.
So do you
get a Deutz tractor to put on a grain cart?
Yeah.
Run it next to the Bush Light Combine.
Does the content drive where you go, or your job?
The job.
Then you just get the content along the way.
Yeah. So I get a lot of emails and messages on Instagram and stuff now. Hey, you should come to our farm, but it has to work. Like, I have to be there. I don't make enough money on YouTube that I can just drive like 3 states to film a video.
Yeah.
Like, because. And it might be the video that makes a lot of money, and it might you don't know it. Like, it's so unpredictable. And that's part of my problem because I'm not consistent putting video. If I was putting a video up every 2 to 3 days on a schedule, then I think they kind of favor you in the algorithm. But me, I might put 3 videos up this week, and I might only do 1.
I don't know. We're pretty scheduled, and it hasn't taken off for us.
Okay,
but, I mean, we're boring.
Okay,
so
well.
It's hard to sit down and watch someone talk for an hour.
What is your best performing video? What has the most views? Do you have one?
I got 2 videos over 2 million views. I got several over 1 million. I did a video at a farm in western Indiana this past summer, and they had everything going on. They had 2 X9 combines running wheat with the 50-foot heads. They were raking the straw, baling the straw, working the ground with the high-speed disc, and double cropping soybeans. So, and then picking up the bales with the big bale wagons and stuff, and they were baling the straw. And I had an afternoon of all this equipment running within a 5-mile circle of each other. So I'm back and forth getting all this footage, and I'm like, okay, do I make a 15-minute combine video? Not only that, they had a 2,500 bushel grain cart on a Deere big RX, 9RX. So, I mean, this is like, and that video I put on in June. Yeah, I filmed that at the end of June and went on in July. That video hit 2.1 million views since July. Wow. So if every video could grow like that, you'd make a.
Is it wrong, or you don't have to answer this? But what's a million view video worth?
That can vary too,
really?
Because I think a lot of it depends on what commercials get pushed on. That, like, I went up and visited Millennial Farmer about 4 years ago. I was up in the area, and I met Zach at some shows and stuff, and I went there, and I rode in the combine with him a little bit. And, you know, a lot of these YouTubers are talking to the camera the whole time and getting the view out the cab, and I'm not in my videos very much. I'm showing the equipment run.
Yeah.
And but that video being titled Corn Harvest at Millennial Farmer, it was something like that.
Oh, yeah.
That video got 130,000 views, and that video made more money than videos that had 1 million views. And so I think people, like, I don't know if the advertisers, how that works.
Sure.
But, you know, it says Millennial Farmer on it, so.
Well, we're going to start putting Millennial Farmer in the title of every show.
Millennial
Farmer's friend Mike.
Yeah. So, but I got a lot of nice comments on that video because people were like, because I droned them, and I got on, and people were like, this is really nice because we don't get to see that angle in his videos very much.
Yep.
And I think he even told me after that, like, I need to spend more time and get some of that footage on the outside. But I think my audience is, I have a lot of, you know, I'd say people even older than me that watch my videos because they want to see the equipment run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm also told.
That's why I watched it.
Okay, and I'm also told I'm quite the babysitter because my videos, kids love watching just tractors go back and forth, and I'll tell you, I could cuss with the best of them, but I don't swear in my videos. Snowmobile video, I think there was a couple F-bombs dropped accidentally, but. Anyways, but I've had a lot of people come to the show and they bring their kids in. They're like, what we really like about your videos is I know I can put my kids here and they're not going to hear anything bad. So, have
you been able to monetize platforms other than YouTube?
A little bit on TikTok, but it's not.
Minuscule.
It's not much. Yeah. Supposedly you can get monetized on Facebook, but I haven't figured out how to do it.
Randy was saying that when he was here yesterday.
Yeah.
Field Rows. Yeah. I think that's his bread and butter now.
Okay. That's kind of so. I don't personally post anything on my Facebook page. Anything that I put on my Instagram just automatically goes to my Facebook.
Right.
Okay.
And then sometimes, like, I can't keep up with the comments on a lot of stuff. Like, I am 100%. Everything on my social media is done by me. I take the video, I take the picture, I do all the editing, upload it, check the comments.
That's impressive because that's why we have an Emma.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. But for me, being in a hotel 3 or 4 nights a week for work, that gives me something to do in the hotel. Yep. So that makes it nice.
Yeah. What about brand partnerships?
I have a little, but they don't last very. I don't know. I've done a couple with 2 workwear companies. Yep. I did one for a whiskey company.
Oh.
And I'm not much of a whiskey drinker. I'm more, if I'm going to drink, I'm usually going to drink Miller Lite or Coors Light. But
keep it simple.
You're already not liking me.
Edit
the
that out,
Arctic
Will.
Cat.
Hey, we're sponsored by Busch Light.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, I can drink. My dad drinks Busch Light over there. So.
Actually, it's about time for a Busch Light break.
It is.
Although we still didn't bring our Busch Light.
No.
Oh, man.
But normally we take a break, and we try to just break the conversation up and play a little game. And what we've been doing here at the Farm Show is asking questions that might not necessarily have answers to them.
Okay.
And see what you come up with.
Okay.
Let's start off with the stair question. Can you ever stand backwards on a set of stairs?
Huh.
I mean, technically, no, because you're either going up or down.
So if you turned around, it's just...
You're facing the stairs
you're just
down.
Up, right?
I don't like that.
You don't like that?
Why are eyebrows not considered facial hair?
I didn't know they were. I didn't know they were. So.
See, those are the types of questions, okay?
Yeah.
So,
yep.
A fly.
Yep.
What do you call a fly that doesn't have any wings?
Oh.
Because now they can't fly.
A bug.
Yeah.
Just a bug?
I guess.
An insect without wings.
If the
no
early
fly?
bird gets the worm, why do good things come to those who wait?
See, these are the types of things you just sit there and you go,
Yep.
it may not hit you now, but you're going to be walking around later going,
Yeah. Yeah.
We had one yesterday. Which comes first, the color or the fruit of orange?
Yeah.
And Quick Dick McDick walked by, and that man sat there, and about 5 minutes later, he goes, you know what? It had to have been the fruit.
Yeah.
Because somebody then said, oh, that looks just like the orange, and it's the same color.
He said it was biblical.
Oh, that's right, yeah. But it wasn't immediately. He just kind of had one of those, it just never left his brain. So sorry if we ruined the rest of your morning because you're going to be thinking about these.
No. I'm trying to think of the one on Joe Dirt when he finally meets his parents and his dad says, how's the posi track rear end work? It just does.
What do we got? Another one in here? If you told somebody to go off and be a leader, we tell people on the podcast all the time, leadership techniques. If you tell somebody to go off and be a leader, doesn't that make them a follower?
Yeah, I mean,
sometimes you have to follow to lead.
Or let's say leading by example.
Yeah.
He's a leader now because of my example I set for him.
So there you go. This little break there just to knock things off.
Thank you, Busch Light.
Yeah.
Even though I don't have one here.
I always, a couple wild ones, my brother always used to say when you're like talking to people and there's just that awkward moment, my brother always used to be like, it's not the itching, it's the swelling that I can't stand. And that'll usually liven up a group if it gets awkward. And then I always like to throw on the old Cheech and Chong when the nun always says this, as St. Dominus always said, "O fili bi boni belli, domus obisco, belli selling always dominos." And with that, I would like your undivided attention. I learned that when I thought
you didn't watch TV.
This is the album, the Cheech and Chong album. I used to listen to Cheech and Chong album.
He's just got into podcasts now, so he's going to start then ratcheting up those quotes as well.
Yeah.
So you're down here at the show. Yep. What are you doing down at Nash Farm Machinery Show?
So I'm hanging out at the Deutz Fahr booth. Yeah. I'm a product specialist for their 6-cylinder tractors, so the go-to guy.
Okay.
But I'll tell you, and even with Versatile, since my YouTube, it's all day just mostly meeting fans.
Yep.
Fans. Lots of pictures, signing a few autographs.
Do you have pictures? Do you have pictures that you sign so people can show up?
No, we didn't do anything this year.
We should get you some headshots.
Yeah.
Randy was signing stickers here yesterday.
Okay, yeah. I'll tell you, I think it was 4 years ago here was the first time somebody asked for my autograph, and I've never had anyone ask for that. That was the weirdest thing. I thought he was kidding. I still laugh about it because I'm like, are you serious? Like, why would you want,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Hey, we had to sign an autograph yesterday. Did you see that?
We as in you.
No, they wanted Farm for Profit on a T-shirt. That's how they wanted it signed.
Didn't even want you.
No.
Just to Farm for Profit.
I've never signed it before.
That's cool. So do you get time to walk around, or is it pretty much all?
Yeah, so I kind of got a schedule with this show. We're staying in downtown.
Yeah.
I hit the Cracker Barrel every morning here at 7 a.m. when it opens up, get my breakfast in, and then I'm here I beat the crowd.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't beat it this morning. I put that in a video a couple years ago, and that might have been my mistake because now everyone goes to Cracker Barrel.
Yeah.
But anyways, go to the Cracker Barrel. I get here before the show opens, we can get in a little before. So I walk around when no one's here, get some footage and stuff. So I don't know if you guys know this. I was at the Tulare show on Tuesday at the World Egg Expo.
Oh, that's what Emma was saying.
Okay,
yeah.
And then I flew here, so I missed the first day here. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to do a farm show video, but I'm going to include, it's going to be 2 farm shows in 1 week or whatever. So there's a lot of farm YouTubers here, so I'm probably not going to do a lot. Yeah. Farm show videos never really do a lot of good for me. Like, I'm not big on going around interviewing people and stuff like that. So I'll do one, but there's
it just adds to the book.
Yeah. So
will you be down at Commodity Classic?
I got invited to go. We won't be there as a company, but J&M Grain Carts actually invited me down to come down. I do some stuff with them.
Yeah,
because they're built really close to me. Fort Recovery, Ohio is like 35 miles from me.
Okay.
And we run J&M carts, and we work together.
We could use a grain cart.
Yeah. They sure got them. They're good. They're good guys.
Yep.
I like them. Yeah.
So now that you are into it on social media, YouTube, would you do anything different when you started over? We get asked a lot about how do you get started? You guys interview these people. I mean, would you do something different or just go at it the same way?
Probably go at it the same way. I mean, we always learn from our mistakes, and that's what makes us better. But starting out not knowing what I was even getting into, that it was a thing, I guess where I'm at now, looking back, like I guess I sort of made a success story out of something I had no idea was even going to be. I could, if I seriously probably wanted to put all my time into being a full-time social media guy for agriculture, I could probably make a living doing it.
Yeah.
But that's, I don't want to take that.
Then the pressure's on.
Yeah.
Perform,
right.
It's fun now.
It's fun. It's fun. Yeah. And like I said, it could all go away tomorrow. I mean, I could make a comment that today's world
canceled.
Someone gets offended because they misunderstand. I mean, you just don't know.
Yeah.
So I always tell my wife that. I said, we make pretty decent money off the YouTube channel now. But I said I would never go buy a piece of ground or something and say my YouTube's going to make the payment on it. I would.
You can't rely on it.
But it pays for the cameras. I say, it might take us on some snowmobile trips.
Yeah.
And, stuff like that. That's what it's good for. And so, yeah.
I just love your story that you started.
Yeah.
For the sole mission of wanting to share your snowmobile trip with your buddies.
Yeah. I mean, that's what really kicked it off. Yeah.
And that seems to be the common story of the people that we interview is just that it starts off being something just personal interest.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think a lot started like that, but we didn't grow up with YouTube. Right now there's content creators that are growing up with it, and that's what they want to be when they get older.
Right. Yeah. That's
so we'll see a dynamic shift of how that goes out there.
I actually went to career day at my local school. I got 3 kids, but my kids are all grown up now. But the ag teacher there asked me to come in and do for career day and talk about jobs in agriculture, as I know. But he goes, I'd like you to speak about being a social media influencer too. So I love it because I'm old. Right?
Yeah.
When people think of social media influencer, which I don't like to use that term that I am one, but I guess technically I am. But I love just going up to random people that I don't know and be like, hey, I'm a social media influencer, and they just bust out laughing, right?
I don't like that term either, and we've talked about it. I like content creator maybe.
Yeah, content.
A little better.
Yeah. So, but I've actually had people come up to me at shows and say, hey, I'm thinking about starting a YouTube channel. I want to get famous. I want to make a living. And I'm thinking to myself, you're already in it for the wrong reason.
Yep. And people can tell.
I think that gets sniffed out pretty fast.
Yes. Yep. I mean, and I'm not going to change what I've ever done just to get more views. I'm not going to do that. I make what I make, and I got my following likes that, and I'm not changing.
Yep.
I'm not changing.
Well, we say that all the time. We may not have all the listeners, or someone might come on and leave again, but we're doing what we have because we believe in the mission of it and where the directions are pointing.
Yeah. No, I love listening to these farm podcasts when I'm traveling. This is great.
You get a lot of road time.
It's great.
So what's next for Mike? What's next for Farmhand Mike?
Well, we was going to go snowmobiling next week in Michigan, but it sounds like the UP's losing its snow. They got some rain up there, so I got a Wyoming trip planned in March. We go out to the World Championship hill climbs in Jackson Hole the end of March. We usually get a couple days of riding and then go to the hill climb. So that's planning on that, and then just waiting for springtime to get here and get into the fields. And I'm anxious to get back in the seat of a tractor, but also anxious to get the new 2023 farming videos going. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And how do people find you if they don't know who you are and haven't followed you yet?
Yeah, well, just if you go to Google and type in Mike Less, Less, or Farmhand Mike, you'll find me. I'm on. I have a Facebook page, Instagram, YouTube.
Yeah.
I always say YouTube and Instagram are my main two. My Facebook's got a 30,000 followers, I think, which is good because I don't even really everything I put on Instagram just automatically goes to it.
Yeah.
And then I started a TikTok and I got Snapchat. I'm not a Snapchat guy, but I have one, but I don't really use it much.
Yeah.
So,
Wow,
but there is a time when you just want to send someone that random picture, but you don't want to waste it in a text message. Like
I use it for just joking around with buddies more than anything.
Yes. Yeah, that's what it's good for. But I've had so many people. I get a lot of follow requests on Snapchat, and if it looks like if the profile picture looks like someone with a hat on or farmer looking, I'll accept it. But there's so much trash.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, so many women on there. And you know right away when I get a message that says, "Hey, handsome," you know they're full of it. They're full.
It's some guy probably trying to take your money.
Right.
Does that ever happen to you? Have you because of your impressions, the people that follow you, do you ever get put in weird spots?
Oh yeah. Even for being I'll be 55 next week. Even being a middle-aged guy, I've had some weird situations for sure. The little kids I love because they're shy. Like they watch my videos and they come in and then they're shy and they don't know what to say. Like that's cool. But I've had people just walk in and just stare at me. Like they just walk up and they just stare at you. And my favorite one is like I'm at the show here and I'm talking to a group of people and I see people walk by and they like run into each other because they see me and they run into each other. And then I'm just talking to like you guys and I make eye contact with them and then they just boom, they're gone.
Well, we've noticed a couple walking by here. You know, it's the finger point.
Yeah.
That's Farmhand Mike.
My wife was. We went to the National Farm Toy Show a couple years ago up in Dyersville, and my wife was with me, and people were pointing me out and talking to me. My wife had no idea. Like, and this is when it was really starting to take off, and my wife's like, this is crazy. Like, people like know you.
Yeah.
Then of course you always think of the Ron Burgundy. I'm kind of a big deal. People know.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
It is. It's always the wives that don't believe it.
Yeah. And my wife and daughter will be here tomorrow, and my daughter it cracks them up. Like it just. Yeah.
That's got to be the most quoted movie of all time.
Yeah.
Middle class case of emotions. Baxter.
I think a lot of lines from. I'll tell you a movie line I use a lot when I get ready to do a voiceover in my videos is from Four Christmases when Vince Vaughn's getting ready to go up and do the live nativity. And he goes, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. So right before I set my microphone up and stuff, I start going, red leather, yellow leather. I don't even know if that's a thing to warm up
your tongue warmed up.
I've noticed I've been using, excuse me while I whip this out. Old Blazing Saddles reference there.
Yeah, I think a lot of us, there's a lot of movie quotes people like to.
Yeah.
There was an old John Wayne one. I seen a many strutting peacocks like you fall hard. Like that pause. I like to use that one too.
Yeah. Well, Mike, we ask every one of our guests the same question.
Okay.
And the question that we've been asking lately is, what does success look like to you? Doesn't have to be YouTube. Doesn't have to be with Deutz. Just what does success look like?
Just being a good person, just trying to be a good person. My wife sent me a TikTok yesterday of an old man saying, and it was about success. So this is great that you bring this up. He said, success is when your kids are grown up and they still want to hang out with you. And man, did that hit the spot. Because we still take family vacations. My oldest son's 35.
Really?
My son that lives in Utah, he'll be 30. My daughter's 23. But we still take family road trip vacations with the daughter-in-laws. And that's success when your kids want to.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I even my 35-year-old son, if I talked to him right now, he would not leave here without saying he loved me.
Yeah.
And saying it back. And that's.
I even catch myself with my daughters that I'll have them sitting in my lap, and I said, "When are you going to let me do this forever?" And right now their answer is yeah. And I said, "Well, we both know at 18 you're not going to be sitting on my lap." Even 12.
It's hard to think about.
Yeah.
It's hard to think about. Now I enjoy hanging out with my parents as well. Working with your parents. I work with them, right?
Okay,
so I see them every day.
Right, yeah.
And that's it's hard because then they're an employee or your coworker. But I love going down on the weekends, cooking steak, having a bourbon or something, and hanging out. That's fun, even if it's for a couple hours. So.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a pleasure. I'm glad that it worked into your schedule. Glad that you're able to come over and hang out.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. Like I said, we enjoy watching your YouTube videos. I know a lot of our listeners do as well.
Okay, that's great. That's great.
You.
Thanks for having me. Did an hour go? Wow, time really
Pretty
flies.
close,
wow, time flies when you're having fun. Yesterday, talking to people all day. I mean, it's like, oh, wow, it's lunchtime. And it's like, oh, wow, it's 3 o'clock. So, thanks for having me, guys.
Sometimes we don't get lunch.
Yeah, that's right. So, let's stay in touch, and we'll get the old Bush Light Combine on YouTube here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be
Come
awesome.
to Iowa this fall.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Well,
I go through Iowa quite a bit. So.
That's great.
Yeah.
Corey, what do we tell the listeners?
Crack a Bush Light. You deserve it.